So let's just get started right away with Greedent here. I love Greedent. They are a ton of fun. They start with 2 skills, one of which is Tackle and the other is Defense Curl. And what Tackle does is you lunge forward and go, whoop, pia, and you hit everything that's in your way while you do that. So if I come into the bees here, everything is going to get hit. They also get slowed for a little bit after you hit them, according to the description, which you can actually see the animation underneath their little wings. Something else that's really cool about Tackle and really just kind of underlines the whole play style of Greedent is this whole berry thing they have going on. So if Greedent has a berry or a set of berries within this little meter he has underneath his health, then that will reduce the cooldowns on a bunch of the different skills that Greedent has. So what we should do is actually, let me get a bunch of berries here, and then I'm going to go ahead and use Tackle. And what you'll see is I have a cooldown. Now let me go ahead and eat some berries here. Now, since I'm on a full stack of berries, if I use Tackle, I don't have a cooldown right now. That's because it lowers the cooldown by about a second per berry. So to showcase that again, I think it has like a 4 or 5 second cooldown, right? So if I eat 1 berry here, you'll see it's a lower number. Instead of 5, it was 4. And then if I happen to have 2 berries, bump, bump, then bring this back down, you'll see now it's down to 3. And so much of what Greedent is so dependent on whether or not Greedent has berries. And we're going to get a lot more into the berry conversation here. But let's look at the other skill here, which is Defense Curl. What Defense Curl does is you get a shield, and you spit out a berry. The shield, according to Unite DB, is about 15% of Greedent's health. As you can see, it doesn't last very long, but you get a berry. And then on the topic of dropping berries, there's a couple of things that can cause Greedent to drop a berry. One of which is doing their boosted attack. So if there's nothing around me to hit at, I can just go ahead and pretty much farm berries like this just by going through the whole attack cycle. I'll drop berries. Another thing that will cause Greedent to drop berries is if they get hit. Bam. So if they get hit by an attack or a series of attacks, a berry will drop. And there does appear to be a cooldown when you are getting attacked, because if he hits me here, right? But then if he hits me again, I don't drop another berry. So there definitely seems to be some sort of cooldown. But one other thing you'll notice about these berries is they do heal. And they heal for... It's complicated. So they heal for a set amount, and then they also heal for a certain percentage based off of your HP. So we saw 143 and 73. The reason why there's 2 numbers is because Greedent gets extra healing out of the berries compared to other Pokemon, because I have Snorlax up here, and Snorlax can actually eat these berries. So if I drop a berry here, and then I turn on attacks, as you can see, when he walks into the berries, he does consume them. Now, Snorlax, we'll talk more about Snorlax and berries, but just know that ally Pokemon and enemy Pokemon will heal from the berries. But Greedent gets more healing. But now back to what we were saying about the amount of healing. So if you take a look here, we have 147 and 73, right? Now this is partially based off of the amount of max HP you have. So if I level up once, you'll see that these numbers change. So pop. I apparently went up to level 6 for some reason, even though I pressed it once. Anyway, let's drop a berry here, and you'll see that the number is actually higher than it was before. So 180 and 90. So you get more healing the higher your HP is. So I think that's the main things you need to know about the berries. They can affect your skills, they can heal you, and they can heal your teammates, and they can heal your enemies. 2 other neat things to know about the berries. They last for about 10 seconds, so you'll see at around 850, this berry here is going to disappear. But something that I find really cute about the berries, here it should disappear, right? Meow. Yeah. So 10 to 11 seconds on the berries. But something that's really cute about the berries with Covet here, Covet, is take a look at their cheeks. They currently don't have any berries. You can tell because the gauge is empty. But if I have a berry, suddenly my cheeks poof up a little bit. I don't know if the cheeks get larger based on the amount of berries I have. Let's see. Oh my god, they totally do. Look at that booty clap. So now let's get ourselves on over to the other skills here, which is going to start at level 5, because that's when we evolve into Greedent. And we have Stuffed Cheeks and Covet, both of which are very good and interesting skills. But let's go with Stuffed Cheeks, because Covet is too much fun, and I kind of want to save that for later. And then in terms of other skills we get, we can go ahead and level up to level 7 to get our second skill here. And you know what? We'll also save Belch for later too, because that is also a very fun skill. So we have Bullet Seed or Belch, and then at level 9 is when we get our Unite move. All right. And then we get our upgrades later down the skill set. So let's start with Bullet Seed. The way Bullet Seed works is you spit out seeds. You can move around while you're doing it, and you can also turn around while you're doing it. And it lasts for a certain period of time here. So let me turn off move cooldowns here, or turn on move cooldowns. And what you'll see is if I do this for a little bit, See how there's a little blue circle going around Bullet Seed? That's how much longer I have to cast it. Once that's gone, well, then we have to wait for the cooldown. Okay? Now, like pretty much everything else about Greedent here, it is affected by berries. So let's talk about Stuffed Cheeks, and then we'll talk about Bullet Seed again. So the way Stuffed Cheeks works is you just spit out a bunch of berries. Ba-bum! And if you see berries while you're casting Stuffed Cheeks, you actually move a little bit faster. Also, if you happen to pick up any berries, they will heal you. Or if you're already at max health, you will get a shield. Okay, so take a peek here. See how I get a shield? Now you have about a 5-second window in order to pick up berries and also gain a shield. After that 5 seconds, the berries are no longer going to provide a shield. One other thing to note about this, which is one of the unique things about Greedent. Let's go over to the yellow berries over here. So Greedent can pick up yellow berries whenever. Greedent doesn't need to be missing health. A lot of characters, if they're at full health, they can't pick up a yellow berry unless you're Greedent. Greedent can take them whenever they want because they're greedy. Which is actually really nice if you're trying to be clever over here and then steal from the enemy Pokemon. But anyway, the point of what I'm trying to say here is if you cast Stuffed Cheeks, remember how I said you have a 5-second window to go ahead and get that shield? Well, if you grab a yellow berry, that still doesn't work. You're not going to get a shield if you're at full health and pick up a yellow berry. But it'll still work on the blueberries. Won't work on the yellow berries. Greedent can also pick up these green berries, and these will add to the berry stack. And Greedent can also pick up the enemy Greedent's berries, and that will add to the berry stack. And then speaking of stacked berries, let's bring ourselves back to Bullet Seed. So what Bullet Seed does when you have berries to use is it will make you shoot faster. As you can tell here. And then once you run out, you kind of go back to normal. So this just means you're doing more damage. So in terms of how much damage Bullet Seed does, well, at no berries, we're going to do about this much damage. Let's see how much it is. Which is actually a pretty decent amount. It is about 4,104. Not a small amount of damage. Problem is, it just takes a long time to get it out, and things can run away from you. Now, the nice part about Bullet Seed, though, is that if you are hitting somebody with Bullet Seed, here, chase me a little bit, they will get slowed. So if I hit them here, you'll see that little blue aura underneath the Corefish's body. That means they're being slowed. So if you do want to chase somebody down, you probably could chase them down and then really do damage to them. You just gotta hope they don't have any skills that help them get away from you. But now let's go ahead and see how much damage we do if we were at full stacks. So let's just rip into them. So instead of 4,104 damage throughout the entirety of the skill, we're actually doing closer to 6,669. Nice. So a lot of damage there, but believe it or not, I do think it gets outclassed by Belch. And let's go ahead and talk about Belch. Actually, real quick before we talk about Belch, I should say that Bullet Seed will hit everyone that is within the range of Bullet Seed. It is not just a single target skill. And now let's talk about Covet and Belch. Now, before we talk about Belch, we need to talk about Covet because Covet does something with Tackle before it gets replaced by Belch. So what Covet does, man, I love this skill. It is so fun. So when you press Covet, you start moving. I'm actually not even using the controller here. You just kind of start moving automatically, which is probably part of the reason why it gets hard to control. So it causes Greedent to start moving forward, and then they also start spitting out berries. And the more berries that get spit out, the faster Greedent moves. Now, while you're using Covet, you can turn, but you kind of get all Tokyo Drift because for some reason, you just got to go forward and you got to go fast. Which makes it a lot of fun to play with. Also, while you're using Covet, you're unstoppable, meaning that nobody's going to slow you down. No CC or anything is going to affect you. Only thing that's going to stop you is a Slowbro ult. So just have fun running through them. Now, the reason why I say we have to cover Covet before we move on to Belch is because Covet affects Tackle. So Tackle, usually what you do is you lunge forward, right? We covered that earlier. But if you're using Covet, this causes Tackle to kind of spit out in an arc. Honestly, very similar to how Belch works. So just keep in mind, Tackle basically becomes a Belch. Now, other things to know about Covet is that not only are you going and moving around real fast, you also can run into your enemies, which will knock them up and stun them a little bit, and it will cause damage, which is pretty cool. So let's start working on our other skills here, and then we'll see what damage numbers are like. So if we go to Belch at level 7, I love Belch. So what you do with Belch is you just bleh, and it's in a really wide area of effect. Now, some really cool things about Belch, and the reason why I like it so much, is that it interacts with your berries similar to how Tackle does, meaning that it reduces the cooldown. So again, with Bullet Seed, it increases your attack speed, but with Belch, it decreases your cooldown. And that gets very important later. So let's go ahead and turn on move cooldowns and use Belch, right? And we have about, what, a 4-second-ish cooldown. Now let's go ahead and get a bunch of berries going in here with Covet. So fun. And actually, you can cancel Covet early. You don't have to sit there and run the whole time. But if you're at full stacks with Belch here, if you go pop, you can do it again, which means you are doing a ton of damage. So let's just see how much damage you do here. Now we're at level 15. Let's take a look at some of these skills. So with Covet here, we're doing 456 per smuck, right? This is too fun. But then if you go ahead and you use Belch, that does 2,225 damage. However, since we can get ourselves fully stacked up with Covet here to get all of our berries going, the skill really can do about this much damage. But bam, 4,450, and it's in a giant arc, and it happens real fast. One of the downsides about Belch is that you cannot move while you use it. Oh god, I didn't mean to do that. Spoiler alert. Now, one of the downsides about Belch is that you cannot move while you're using it. So you see me cast Belch and I can't move anymore. Womp, womp, womp. However, if you're using Covet with it, you can move and Belch at the same time, which is a lot of fun. And you can just keep burping on them. Now, let's talk about how this gets really crazy. So this Unite move here, you're going to love this way too much. So the way this works is once you cast it, you're going to eat a berry, which will cause you to heal, and then you jump forward and cause damage in an area of effect. Okay? Ba-bum! And what you can see here, this little animation, is you see how the berries are glowing underneath my health bar? That means that I have unlimited use of these berries. Now you might be like, okay, that's cool, I guess. Does that just mean I'm going to shoot a lot more in Bullet Seed? Yes, it does. But remember, if you have berries at your disposal, it reduces your cooldown on Belch. So, where this gets really ridiculous is when you use your ultimate move and then you also use Belch. So let's go ahead and turn on move cooldowns here so you can see what this actually would look like in a match. And here we go. Ba-bam! And you can just keep burping and 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 burping. So, with no items attached, through that full sequence, you're doing about 33,000 damage. Now, Belch also has a really nice modifier based off of Greedent's attack power. So if you go attack weight, you're going to get even more out of this. Or if you go energy amp, you're going to get even more out of this. But you might be like, well, that's so unrealistic. Who's just going to sit there the whole time while you go ahead and Belch on them? Okay, well, a couple of things will, by the way. One of which is Zapdos. You can melt Zapdos in no time at all. And actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and do it. Let's just try to melt Zapdos. No items. No fluffy tail, no nothing. If you do have a fluffy tail, and if you do have items, you definitely can melt Zapdos all by your lonesome here. But let's turn on move cooldowns. Have a good old time. And then this is where this just gets so stupid. Here, hurt me. He's gonna pop me up. I'm gonna loosen my burp here. But if I had fluffy tail on and then also items that made me stronger, you definitely can take out Zapdos by yourself. No help required. Now imagine if you do get help from like the newly buffed Garchomp and maybe Blissey coming in to help Garchomp, like that type of thing. Zapdos going down in 5 seconds flat. Easy. Maybe even faster. This is also great for Dreadnought. This is also great for it's also great for Rotom. But you know what? Let's say you want to go after the enemy team. Let's say they're deathballing a little bit. It's this big group of Pokemon that are just trying to ruin your life. Well, you still can do this to them a little bit differently. So let's go ahead and make sure move cooldowns are on and then make sure we reset things. And then what you'll see here is, again, Covet allows you to use Belch and Bullet Seed while you're using Covet. So if I go ahead and use my ult and then I turn on Covet, I can just keep belching at everything. So you're just going to like clean up everything. This is just so silly. Like, get out of my way. It's so ridiculous. That is Greedent's big party trick. That's the whole reason why people run Greedent, is because they are great at objectives. So Greedent is kind of a monster right now if you play them correctly. And more importantly, they are just so fun to play. Here we come. Like, I just love playing him. He's so fun. And then real quick before the items, let's go ahead and take a look at the stats here. And what we'll see is defender stats here on Greedent. So we have 9,099 HP, which is a ton. We have 433 defense and 360 special defense. Lower end defender stats, but still really, really high compared to most of the other Pokemon in the game. Let's go ahead and take a look at the basic attack here. And what you'll see is we do 345 on our basic attack. And then for our special, we do 394, which really is not that much more. But that causes us to drop a berry, which this is what the whole thing is about here anyway, is farming these berries. And then if you want some really precise numbers, I encourage you to check out Unite DB. They math the crap out of all this stuff. And this is where you'll see really exact numbers on the healing for the berries, exact numbers on how the attacks work. Greedent is a physical attack character. You'll see some of the ratios on some of these skills. So this is how you know that Belch will really, really do well with something like the attack weight, as will their Unite move will benefit a lot from the attack weight. So, wait, special attack? What? And then one other neat little thing to know about Greedent here is the synergy that they have with Snorlax. So what you'll see here is if I drop berries, Snorlax will do his happy dance, right? And that happy dance means that he's reacting to the berries because Snorlax has a passive that causes berries to do double their effect. So in this case, what you'll see is that if Snorlax gets close to a berry, he does his little happy dance because almost every single time there's an animation in this game, it means something. And Snorlax is animating toward the blueberries that Greedent drops, indicating that there is a synergy there. And now on to items for Greedent. And the way I view Greedent is somebody who can kind of charge in there and do a lot more than you think they can. So since Greedent has such a crazy thing going on with their ultimate move, Buddy Barrier is always going to be a good choice. And then in terms of other things you'd want to pick, if you want that extra damage with the Unite move, you might want to go ahead and do Energy Amp. You also could argue that maybe attack weight's a really good thing for them if you're going to be running a Belch build, simply because the ratios are so nice. And for your last item here, I always love Score Shield because I think it unlocks a different play style. But you could try going Focus Band, or you could flip out attack weight for Focus Band if you feel like you're doing enough damage. That's another thing you could do too. Just go really, really tanky and then make it so you're really hard to take down. Either way, I would generally try to go towards a defensive set on them and then consider running attack weight or energy amp. If you'd like to join in on viewer games, we do viewer games on Twitch almost every single night on twitch.tv/SwingPoynt. I'd love to see you guys over there. Also, please consider subscribing if this video was helpful to you at all, or leave a comment down below if there's anything else that you know about or that you may have learned. And with that, thank you guys so much. You guys are the best, and I'll see you in the next video that we do around here.